Association, who was interviewed... Authority. Oh, bugger. Who was interviewed by... Oh, I've got it completely wrong. By John Laws. Yes. On radio, and then by everybody else that is investigating. It's kind of like the head of the Spanish Inquisition saying, would you like a cup of tea? I would have loved to have seen that interview. I would love John Laws halfway through to just go, I am your father.
Or actually, I could be your father if the price is right.
Adam does have it, 5 points. Kim Beazley says Australian Broadcasting Authority Chairman, Professor David Flint, has compromised himself fatally by going on the John Laws program while the Cash for Comment inquiry is underway. Happily, they decided it probably wasn't a good idea to start the show with, "Hello, world, this is John Laws," with the professor chiming in, and his good pal Flinty. Flint did most of the talking in the interview because Laws never talks with his mouth full. Even though he stepped down today, David Flint doesn't believe he's done anything wrong, ever, in his whole life. But occasionally, people of puny intellect like Kim Beazley, the Law Council of Australia and the Communications Law Centre do fail to grasp the full grandeur of his intentions. The professor is also not bound by a code of ethics because he's not a chairman of a broadcasting authority. He's an entertainer. Well, a bite for you from a statesman.
It is importantly the first opportunity we have had in 100 years to put something positive and gracious and decent and generous into our Constitution.
What's he talking about?
Good on you, Tiger. Essentially, it's about the preamble for the Constitution. He's a good bloke. He's a good bloke. You know, I'm going to be nice. I think it's like this preamble, he's really imbued it with everything that it is to be Australian. Essentially, the preamble for the Constitution, he wants it to be Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Which I think will work, you know.
Nice.
But essentially, no, it's about, like, well, do you want to, in part, explain this?
All about Indigenous Australia.
Yeah, the kinship.
That's what's important. Kinship.
Kinship, yeah. Not, you know, they used to own the place, but apparently now they have a kinship with it. Now, I'm sorry, but I think that's pedantic about words. I'm going to be serious here for a moment, but I think that's still quite a horrible thing. We're saying, oh, look, they were here, they owned the place, and now we're going, oh, no, they've got a kinship with it. It's like somebody come out to you and go, oh, no, you have a kinship with your car. No, I own my car. The only person in history who has a kinship with their car was David Hasselhoff on Knight Rider.
5 points. Stop it there. Will was right. John Howard's preamble, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the Indigenous people's unique relationship with the land to be misrepresented in the Constitution. John said it was a tragedy. People argued about the Republic, but ignored the preamble. They were supposed to ignore both.
Interestingly, though, it did increase the country's vocabulary by at least one word. Nobody was using preamble in a sentence 6 months ago.
That's a point. Yeah, it was more of a put-down, mate. You're just talking preamble.
Yeah.
Howard maintained it would cement the cultural importance of Indigenous peoples into the legal system. But at the same time, he kept reminding us the preamble wasn't legally binding. It's like writing a blank cheque on a non-existent account, which also seems to be the Coalition's Aboriginal aid policy.
We should do Politics 101. Andrew and I will do a double act.
No. Suddenly you're interested.
Now, that's an essential viewing.
Yeah. You did show that on E!
Howard said his preamble would give the Constitution a positive, gracious, decent statement about Aboriginal people. But now it's failed to get up. He can't say he's sorry. To finish this round, Spot the Bull, Angela, those shy, humble executives on the International Olympic Committee came up with a brilliant idea recently. What was it? That the IOC should enforce a worldwide truce during the Sydney Games. That the IOC should receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Or that the faces of the IOC members should be included in the designs on all future gold medals.
It's the humility of these men on this committee that really gets you in the heart. They are only thinking of others at all times, and that really comes across in these ideas, all of which could be true.
Thinking of others and how much money those others might have.
Yeah, them. In other way, apparently they were also considering taking the position of head of state of Australia when it became available, and anything else they could get their grubby little mitts on.
Weren't they also going to cage all the IOC members, and then at the opening ceremony open the cage and they all just went, "Rah!" and just ran out into the public?
I also like that. All immensely possible, especially the Nobel Peace Prize, but I think it might be, the true answer might be number one. Should enforce a worldwide truce during the Sydney Games.
So there are 49 minor conflicts in the world at the moment, minor and major conflicts, and the IOC reckon, we can stop them for a couple of weeks.
Yep. Well, I reckon people would be behind the idea of sending IOC members to war zones.
Only if Michael Knight's leading the delegation.
Let's just have a look and see if Angela is right. Yes? Yes, the IOC thinks there should be a truce during the 2000 Olympics, but officials explained they didn't expect world peace. They just wanted a 3-week truce between SOCOG and the Australian public. But if they want world peace, they'll have to assemble an Olympic peacekeeping force. It could be quite effective. Javelins and a shot put can do a lot of damage, and if the peacekeeping force were attacked, they'd be very good at running away. Right now, there are hundreds of crack IOC commandos ready to descend on any trouble spot in the world that has a 5-star hotel handy. But don't get me wrong, all wars should stop during the Olympics. The TV networks can only handle one thing at a time. Ready to spot some bull now, Marise?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. BBC TV researchers conducted a survey of British children recently and found a couple of interesting things. One was that the kids get Prime Minister Tony Blair confused with God.
As you do.
What was the other? That the Queen is God's mummy. Oh.
That's so cute.
That the Queen just sits around drinking wine all day. Or that the Queen has to be given flowers or she'll get mad and kill everybody.
If Tony Blair's God and the Queen is God's mummy, you got to wonder what they're teaching in religion classes in London. It's very worrying in the old Church of England. The Queen has to be given flowers or she'll get mad and kill everybody. I identify with her. I understand it absolutely, and my florist would agree. Queen just sits around drinking wine all day. What about the gin? I don't understand it. I mean, Corgi's wine...
Oh, it's got to be the wine. It would have to, because like that wave, she's got to be pissed doing that.
Holding it up.
That's all I want.
I think the answer is that the flowers are delivered to Buckingham Palace not with water but with wine, and that the Queen just sits around drinking wine all day is what the kiddies must think.
Oh, I really love you, Fergie. I love you. God save my gracious me.
I was just thinking, like, when the Queen gets really pissed, she phones up John Howard and says, "Guess what colour panties I'm wearing?"
The Queen wears full-sized cotton tails just like me. And I'm glad to see a few other ladies are doing it too.
Not just ladies. Can we see if the Senator is right?
Yeah.
Hey! 5 points. The Queen is outraged by the accusation. She doesn't sit around drinking wine all day. She wanders around drinking wine all day, followed by one servant carrying one's goon on a silver tray. So the Queen drinks. You know, so what? There's no need to be judgmental about it. You'd drink every day too if you'd had sex with Prince Philip 4 times. The truth is the Queen knows better than to drink in public, especially since Prince Edward's wedding, when she was involved in that unfortunate dirty dancing incident with the Archbishop of Canterbury.
You mean there's a heterosexual person in the Church of England?
He was just using the Queen to get to someone else. Palace insiders say it's well known the Queen rarely drinks because of her hectic schedule and because booze always takes the edge off the speed. The Stonker Robbins is now on 15 points, tied in emotional crossings, 15 points. We call the next thing What's in a Name, a series of questions about the identity of various newsmakers around the world. Robin's team.
No.
Yes.
You ready?
Okay.
The name of the woman who embarrassed London's mayoress by turning up at a luncheon wearing almost exactly the same outfit.
Molly Meldrum.
The Queen. I think it was the Queen.
It was the Queen.
It was the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. Thank you very much. 2 points.
And they made a point of mentioning that it was the same outfit except for the hat. Like, duh, she's got a crown on.
The name of the commentator who's just had a ban lifted by Channel 9 after an alleged racist slur scandal.
Tony Gregg, the key can go back in the pitch.
Thank you very much. Another 2 points there.
Wouldn't it be great one day if Tony Gregg stuck the key in the pitch and started it up? Just drove the pitch off.
Tahiti looks nice. The name of the Olympic official, Michael Knight, has just pledged his undying love for.
Sandy.
Hawaii.
Yeah. Screaming Sandy Hallway.
Another 2 points. Crank and through 'em. The name of the captain of the Australian world champion netball team.
Vicky Wilson.
Yes!
Yeah!
He's right again. Can't stop him.
Give him a ticker tape parade.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so Australian. Give him a bloody ticker tape parade. I want to see the day that Ian Kiernan from Clean Up Australia gets a ticker tape parade.
I just loved that they had all that spare shredded paper after Jeff Kennett was finished in Victoria.
Actually, I met that kid, Jesse Martin, who sailed around the world the other day. I think I asked him the wrong question. It's like, you're 18, you're on a boat, on your own, mum's not around.
Okay, here we go, the last one. The name of the Australian Tax Commissioner.
Who gives a stuff?
Comedy.
Yeah, comedy, yeah.
Comedy. Someone comedy. Michael.
Yes, say it loud, say it proud.
Michael Comedy.
Thank you very much. 10 points. If Tax Commissioner Michael Carmody had his way, Australians would pay tax with an inner glow, even a smile on their face. You know, like Kerry Packer does. But inner glow, see, inner glow. I think what Michael Carmody means is afterglow. You know, that just screwed feeling. Carmody says the community should be aware that paying tax is a worthy social obligation. And I suppose a simple thank you card is too much to ask for. Here's a way to raise a smile while paying your tax. Include a free pen with the tax pack, and when you turn it upside down, Peter Costello's pants fall off. The department has to make paying tax more attractive. Maybe they could take over the poker machine industry. Think about it. People love playing the pokies, right? Yes? Yes. In fact, they probably put more into them than into paying their tax. Every taxpayer would have a chance to get their money back. And it sounds so much better saying, I'm just going down to the pub to pay my taxes.
Or maybe just more like Lotto, and they could have the tax pack and scratch.
No one wins a thing. Perhaps we could pay in kind. Instead of writing a cheque, you could simply supply the government with a kilometre of new road, half a dozen new hospital beds, or the design for a new submarine. You ready for what's in a name McCrossan team?
Most certainly.
Okay. The name of the British politician who has just restarted his career after admitting some of his past gay love affairs.
Michael Portillo.
Michael Portillo is right, 2 points.
All the lurid
horrid tales of politicians dressing up and, you know, asphyxiation while they're getting off on it and all the rest of it. This man just had a few... Oh, sorry, Marise. But this
No, we're talking about another Liberal Party.
But this guy just had a few sincere relationships and he's carrying it as a...
Julie, that's why he got thrown out, because he wasn't kinky enough.
Right.
The name of the Australian who recently became the youngest round-the-world solo yachtsman.
Jesse
Better be Jesse.
Thank you very much. Another 2 points.
Thanks, Mike.
And we all know why it's called solo yachtsman.
Jesse, I just want to say, I know that you were just sailing, mate, and going about, none of that other business.
All hands to the mast.
No, shit,
Can I just say here, the kid did an amazing thing, and it's not fair for us to take the piss out of him. Jesus, it's fun.
Are we ready to move on? Okay. The name of the state premier who wants to turn refugee boats around and send them back.
I think that'd be Western Australia.
I was going to say, it is, it's Western Australia.
Oh, it would be then.
Richard Court.
Thank you very much. Another 2 points. Going well. Teamwork. That's what we love. The name of the Australian cricketer who has just complained to the ARM about his name being used without permission.
Steve Waugh.
No, Shane Warne.
Shane Warne.
Shane Warne. Come on,
Shane Warne used to complain about his photo and stuff.
No, it's Shane Warne.
But,
Shane Warne.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, little one.
But dogs everywhere can.
I think you've been rubbing that cricket ball a little too much.
Name of the lovable Indonesian chap who wants the army to care more about the people.
I think that would be General Wiranto. Been there, done that. Been to Dili and come back.
Oh, that's right. You'd actually been there and observed during the dreaded election that led to such trouble.
Seen that army do its stuff.
Nasty.
Not good.
Another 2 points there, right? In Indonesia, former Armed Forces Chief Wiranto says the military will now have a much wider role in helping the welfare of the people. I think that's like a get shot for the dolls scheme. General Wiranto claims the Army's new role is nation building. I'm not sure how good they'll be at that. After 25 years nation building in East Timor, it's a lot smaller than it used to be. The General wants to use the military to build a stronger, happier Indonesia. The plan is to send out gangs of heavily armed militia who'll raid defenceless communities and build child mining centres and plant herb gardens. The good news is Social Security Minister Jocelyn Newman is now offering to train the Indonesian soldiers in hardline take-no-prisoners welfare tactics. That crowd 25 points, that mob 25 points. The game is Perfect Match. From a collection of possible mates, find the ideal partnership. Mikey, you're looking for that someone special for E.G. Whitlam.
Right. He's obviously just come off a tram and his arm's locked.
To choose from, we have John Gorton, Andrew Peacock,
Yeah.
Oh, just gorgeous.
or Malcolm Fraser.
Right. Do you know, no, that's Malcolm about to start one of those evenings where he wakes up trouserless.
Malcolm and Gough holding hands together and singing and...
It's time.
It's time. It's Malcolm and Gough who've just campaigned together on the Republican cause, and as such, it's not the first time they've done that.
Fairfax.
Yeah, when Packer tried to take over Fairfax, they also got together then, and apparently they've been seeing each other casually for years.
Strange bedfellow.
What's Gough got in his hand up there? It looks like he's at the back of a Bon Jovi concert with his lighter.
Well, may we say, slippery when wet.
Let's just see if they're right. Yay! 5 points! It is Malcolm Fraser. It may be strange, but they're Republican bedfellows. One of the more unusual sights during the referendum campaign was Fraser and Whitlam doing a commercial together for the Yes case.
Malcolm, It's time. It is.
It's funny how things change, isn't it? Gough once hoped he'd get to say, "It's time" again, just before they turned off Malcolm's life support.
Actually, I was just thinking, watching that videotape, if they ever do a remake of The Odd Couple.
They're the right height for each other.
Which one's Felix?
I think it's hard for people who are a bit younger who don't remember just how much bad feeling there was between that pair.
I just find it weird that Gough's glowing.
Yeah.
Like he says,
It's only Gough Kenobi.
Remember, Luke, it's time. It's time, Luke.
Then like John Howard's like Yoda going, "First must we get rid of Monologues."
I know it is important, Malcolm and Whitlam getting together, because it shows that people can get together and forget the past. In fact, when you're old enough, it's compulsory. Of course, in the ad, we only saw them bury the hatchet, but you should have seen the frenzied make-up sex afterwards. It is a little strange watching sworn political enemies join together. It'd be like Fidel Castro and Bill Clinton doing a commercial for cigars. They both like them, but for totally different reasons. The Fraser Whitlam ad was a deliberate attempt to appeal to the 18 to 30s who were brought up on The Muppet Show, and they really like those two old guys up in the balcony criticising everything. Julie, one of the following would be just right for Prince Harry.
Okay.
Who is it? Is it
Harry?
the grizzly bear?
Oh!
Is it an ostrich? Or is it a koala?
It might be the ostrich because Prince Harry won't work with Daryl Summers either.
It could be the koala because Harry, although that shot isn't one of its best, is so good looking these days. Is there anyone on earth that wouldn't like to give him a cuddle?
No, I think very cute and cuddly, and he probably wouldn't wee on you.
I don't know. He is in the royal family. And they do like to use the royal wee.
Actually, this is, interestingly, a wedding story. As I understand it, Harry was at God help us, a wedding where the decoration was goldfish in bowls. He was emulating a little British film which involved the swallowing of a goldfish. He slipped.
Lucky he wasn't impersonating Monica Lewinsky.
He slipped and swallowed the fish, and all I've been thinking ever since is I wonder what they would have put in the bowls at the Packer wedding.
I just think it was sad that he swallowed the fish, but then he had to swallow Rex Hunt to get it out.
That's the grizzly, yep. Let's have a look and see if Julie's right. 5 points. It is the grizzly, and they share a love of seafood. At a wedding recently, Prince Harry allegedly amused the youngsters at his table by grabbing a goldfish out of the centrepiece bowl and dangling it over his mouth until the fish slipped from his fingers and he swallowed it. Oh. The worst part was, before he swallowed the goldfish, Harry got his bodyguard to peel it. But what is it with this family and eating disorders? Huh? Although, you know, at least Harry managed to keep the goldfish down. The RSPCA aren't keen to make a fuss because that time they objected to Prince Andrew putting a corgi in the mulcher. Their managing director was hung for treason. Always the prankster. Harry once tried sword swallowing, but no one could get it out again, until finally his father drew the sword from Harry, and so Charles will be the next King of England. Then 30 points, then 30 points! It's time. Mikey, Angela, Adam, your strange but true clues were the stool.
Here we go. Oh, if you want something funny, do it yourself.
Parliament House.
Oh, put it on your head again.
That's my office.
Mike. Oh, you just look great.
And that...
We'll vote no in November. The Republic's not the way. I've got 5 extra testicles. That's why I sing this way.
Thank you very much. Okay, I almost dropped the stool.
This is a nice way of saying something.
Yeah, this is a euphemism for caca.
No, there was a car.
A car's been driving around Parliament House.
Yes.
With a big cardboard poo on top. So this guy is driving around Parliament House with a big paper mache poo on top of his car. Mind, I think the car,
make a point.
Yeah.
As you would.
I think the car's an old Toyota Crown, so it's hard to tell them apart.
And, the message was clear that all politicians...
shit, was what we said. I'll say the nasty
Glad you
word.
said the nasty word.
Because I'm the grubby boy from Newcastle and you're the princess.
And he also... he was also basically saying that we should vote informally, was that correct?
The referendum.
At the end of the day.
All politicians
I've seen that man with that on the top of his car in Sydney, and he had a different slogan. He seems to manage to adapt it to a range of
apparently he's also got a bumper sticker which says, my other car is a spew.
We realised the only way we're ever going to fix his car is to give it a huge sticker tape parade. Lots of paper.
Mind you though, that's some pretty funny news to that car come out of the harbour tunnel.
They've got it. Possibly the most bizarre incident in the entire referendum campaign was the work of a man described as a taxi driver and intellectual who campaigned by driving around Parliament House with a giant papier-mâché stool on his car and a sign saying, shit, the stuff of politics, vote informal. I think the sign should have read, yes, no, now there's a third option.
Mind you though, you know who I feel sorry for? What? His mate in the car behind with a giant toilet roll on top.
Because he'd have to clean up the skid marks.
I've heard of voting with your feet, but I'm not quite sure what part of the anatomy this guy wanted us to vote with. And his campaign was actually gathering a lot of support, but they turned out to be people who'd mistaken the stool for a giant snack and thought he was advertising a sausage sizzle. When John heard there was a car outside with a turd on it, he just assumed Peter Reith was polishing his sunroof. Marise, Will, Julie, you had the boxing glove?
They'll help you with Senate debate.
And dangerous.
Lucky Jesse Martin didn't have those on.
No, this is more... This is more your Jesse Ventura, the wrestling governor of Minnesota, than your Jesse Martin.
Ah, very nice.
The tiara.
I'm thinking Jesus at his prom.
And finally this.
Bananas in pyjamas are coming down the stairs. Teddy bears are involved, but I'm not going to go any further, thank you. Well, this would be another sort of Republic-related story.
I think this is about a friend.
A friend
some
of yours?
people might say was a few punches short of a knockout, but not me.
I reckon that was you who just said that.
Not me. No, I think this is the esteemed Minister for Employment Services who got a boxing blue as opposed to a red at Oxford.
That's right.
Okay.
And who still, I think, gets in the ring on occasion.
Tony Abbott.
Boxing ring!
So, sometimes it's just too damn easy.
Essentially what the story was, he was doing a bit of campaigning with the bananas in pyjamas.
He was with alleged bananas in pyjamas.
I was going to say, what sort of idiot, though, is like, that's who they're looking for? They're just going, oh, how will they vote in the Republic? I don't know. What are the bananas in pyjamas going to do? Hang on, I'm not making my decision until Gumby comes out in yes.
It's that pivotal 3-year-old vote that you've always got to catch first.
It's only because we were going to call the Australian head of state Chief Banana as we should.
Yeah, well...
Then we'd have a banana republic.
Tony Abbott walking down the streets of Melbourne with a banana on either side
That's Tony in the middle.
That's Tony in the middle,
Yeah.
thank you, the one not in the suit.
Yeah.
Down the streets of Melbourne.
Down the streets of Melbourne, but the ABC very concerned because this is a financial situation.
There's copyright issues involved here.
Thank you very much. In a nutshell, everybody's favourite monarchist, Tony Abbott, got into a spot of copyright trouble in the last days before the vote when he went on the campaign trail with two supporters wearing bananas in pyjamas costumes. Don't they look nice in the photo? B1, B2, and Rat without his hat. And as Marise was saying, if 3-year-olds could vote, Tony Abbott would be a genius. But 3-year-olds can't vote. The ABC responded to the bananas immediately by sending out a crack team of teddy bears to catch them unawares. The Republicans used Fraser and Whitlam, so the monarchists retaliated with the only bigger Australian double act. But it actually resulted from a misprint on a memo. What it was supposed to say was, and we don't want to see anyone without their monarchist bandanas.
Can I just say, just with that picture that was there a second ago, just for anyone that wants to dress up as a banana in a pyjama, please do the hands, because otherwise you actually look like a member of the Ku Klux Klan.
The real bananas in pyjamas are unhappy with the constitutional monarchy because no matter how talented a banana is, it can never become head of state. In news just a hand, NASA is cutting funding for the search for intelligent life on other planets. After hearing about us, NASA believes anything really intelligent would hide. In this palace, Mikey Robbins, Angela Bishop and Adam Hill scored a Pyrrhic 35 points. Neck and neck on the finish line and in total agreement with Julie McCross and Will Anderson and Senator Marise Payne on an irrelevant 35 points. Yes, this country might be divided, but here tonight we're all winners.
Hang on. How did you win?
I don't want to say, but you look pretty and I feel lucky.
So we say it's only just begun and leave you with the good news that maybe Australia isn't ready to look after itself, which is why we voted for King Charles III, a 51-year-old fox-murdering adulterer who talks to vegetables and still refers to his mother as Mummy. If we aren't prepared to hand back the monarchy, we should at least hand back the title of the clever country. Good night. And oh, what might have been. What dreams we may have had. And the big news? Hasta la vista, Queenie! At last, Australia is going to be a republic. But we still get the Queen's birthday long weekend, don't we? Do we? I mean, if we don't, what have we done? It's all gone horribly wrong. Just to show there's no hard feelings, we should send the Queen a little something. You know, maybe a box of chocolates? Something like, thank you very much for the Aussies United. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very. Thank you very much for the Opera House opening. Thank you very, 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 very much. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the good news.